Hello, everybody. I thought I'd make a video of some of the review problems just so then that way when you're at home panicking about things, you can obviously take care of things and hopefully have my soft lilting voice help give you some reassurance and walk you through a couple. So I picked just random ones, the ones that might be on the tougher end of things. So I think we'll just jump right in. I'm going to break this down into 3 different parts. I'm going to do everything in R5A first. So let's talk through that. Remember, first thing you're going to do, you want GCFs out and then factor. And a lot of you guys have started forgetting about that stuff. You just started multiplying across. So please, please, please remember there. In each of these, there are no greatest common factors, so we're just going to break this down. The other thing to remember here, so we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to factor out the first one, and then when I factor out the second, well, here, let's factor out the first one. So I get x plus 2, x minus 1, over x plus 3, x plus 2. I'm going to go times. Now, so I'm going to flip this. This part, the top, the numerator is going to go down into the denominator first. So this is going to end up down here. This is going to end here. So remember that. Now, also remember that when you're looking for hints in terms of what I might be able to factor, if I'm going to take the denominator here first, I'm probably going to have an x plus 3 and an x plus 2, or an x plus 2 in there. Now, since I'm using this one down here, x plus 3 would be a good one to check, and so sure enough, that works. And then in the top, it's the same thing. It's either going to be a 1 or a 2, probably, if this problem is worth anything, it's going to be able to divide something out. So I get x plus 4, x minus 1. And then from there, ta-da, things start dividing out. And again, it can either be inside, like here, these two are fine to go. It's okay if they're from the same fraction. That's perfectly fine and legal. Those are going to go away. These are going to go away. And so you're left with a wonderful binomial on the top of x plus 1 and another one of x plus 4 on the bottom. Go slow, be careful, avoid the silly mistakes. This one, lots of people just loved, he said sarcastically. Big issue here, this thing, you can't factor it once you get into it. There are no 2 numbers that multiply out to be 9 that add up to be 3. But the kickoff is when you see stuff like that, you should look for easier things. You've got a binomial here, and a binomial here, and a binomial here. So when you are looking at binomials, so check binomials first. Binomials first. You've got your difference of squares you can look for. Sum and difference of cubes. Oops. And then you also have GCFs. And if you start with those first, what you'll see, like in this case, is I've got a difference of perfect cubes up here. So if you remember your stuff from last unit, as you were told to do, you would end up coming up with this. If you're not sure, go take a look in your notes, because I know we talked about it. But lo and behold, this part right here, I should have like a motion. This right here matches up with this right up here. So that A should be a tip-off that you can't factor it. B, you should also have, yeah, also you just remember it. But anyway, so then over this will be over the 3m minus n. Oh, look, another thing is going to go away. Right here, we've got a difference of perfect squares, so that's going to go in my numerator, because again, we're dividing. So I have 3m minus n, 3m plus n, all over 9m squared plus, 3mn plus n squared. Just remember, when you're doing this part over here with the cubes, you square that first term. A lot of people make a mistake and write that down as 3m squared, not squaring all of 3m. Anyway, Divide this out. This goes away. This goes away. This goes away. So you are actually only left with 3m minus n, 3m plus n. Now, I could have also divided out this 3m here with this one, the 3m minus n with this binomial up here. You get the same answer either way. Yay! Today's secret word is brilliant. Now, this one, I'm sure I heard some people crying over. And again, GCF is going to be your best friend here. And this one's probably on the harder end of stuff. This would not be a focus question. This would be kind of in that midway range between focus and extension. Sorry, I just had to keep an eye on the time. So let's worry about the binomial first. And the binomial down here in the bottom, I can go 6x squared out, which is going to leave me with, oops, not plus, 5x plus 1. Up on the top, odds are, since I don't have a 5 somewhere, well, here, we'll come back to that in a second. Odds are, since there's no 5 as a leading coefficient up here on the top, pretty good chance that 5x plus 1 will be one of them, which would then leave me with x minus 2 as the other one. And if we check the middle term, I get 1x there and negative 10x there. And so that would add up to a negative 9x. So that would be an adequate way to do things. For the other side over here on the top, I'm going to kind of do this intermediate step because I've got this giant 2x to the 6th that I can take out. And that's going to leave me with x squared plus x plus 2. Oh, dumb, Mr. Hayes. 3x. Yeah, you in the back who is yelling, hey, you made a mistake. Good job. So I've got 2x to the 6th. And then I've got x plus 2, x plus 1. And then in the bottom, there's nothing that you can really factor out there. I'm going to, again, I mean, you can. It's not going to be something, no GCF. This is actually going to break down into x squared minus 4 and x plus 1. Or x squared plus 1. It's one of those quadratic-like. I'm putting air quotes around that equations that we did from the first section. So if that's the case, then this breaks down further because that's a difference of perfect squares. So that's going to become x minus 2, x plus 2, and then x squared plus 1, which you can't break down any further. And then at this point, it just divides stuff out. The 5x plus 1s are going to go away. See ya. X minus 2 is going to go away. X plus 2 is going to go away. I'm going to write this down intermediately here because we're going to chat through a couple things that I've noticed and many of you guys are missing. Now, some of you guys are going to want to do stuff like this. I'm like, oh, this goes away, and this goes away, and this goes away. But no. Don't be doing that. It's a good way to get your grade messed up. Because those aren't factors, okay? So, but here, you can do this. Because remember, if you've got monomials, I can simplify that one. Actually, let me get a bigger one. Highlight. I can simplify that, and I can also simplify this. So with that, then 2 over 6 is going to leave a 3 on the bottom. X squared into x to the 6 is going to leave x to the 4th on top. And then I'm going to leave that from there. All right, we're almost at 10 minutes. Well, actually, just coming up on 9 minutes. So I think we've got one left in this section. Oh, wait, no, we still got adding and subtracting stuff to do. Well, this one might be a little bit longer. I'm not going to break this up into 2. We'll just do all the section 5 stuff together. So, again, factor on these. I can't stress that enough. This first rational, nothing you can do. Second rational, there is something I can do. And I'm going to factor out this. Well, okay, the reason why you would factor that out is to see if anything drops. We're going to have to multiply that back out when we combine things. So we're going to rehash this. So this up here is -9 times x plus 1. Since nothing's going to divide out in that rational, I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this, because then when we start multiplying out and combining the numerator, it'll make life a little bit easier. Okay, so common denominator. You have to take everything that happens, the most times it happens in a particular denominator. So in this case here, I have an x. So the x is going to come down from the first one. This one I already have. If it was x squared, I would change the x in the denominator to x squared. And then this one's going to come down, and it's going to give me x plus 3. And then you have to look at the rationals that we have, and you're going to say, what's missing? Now, in the second one, we're all good. That person's ready to come. As I said, I think in class, it's kind of like going to McDonald's. You have your shoes on, you have a shirt on, they can give you service. The first one over here apparently is missing a shirt or shoes, and so we're going to have to make sure that they put on. You know, it's kind of like when you're traveling with your family and you get to McDonald's after like 5 hours in the car, and you already have your shoes off, and you're like, oh, I don't want to have to put my shoes back on. And if you can't relate with that, I'm sorry. Anyway, so now down here we're going to multiply this out. So x plus 3 squared here in the first term is going to give me x squared plus 6x. Sorry. Plus 9. And then over here I'm going to have minus 9x minus 9. So now the denominator stays the same. We're not going to do anything with that because the denominator is just fine. And now on the top, we're going to recombine all of that stuff into a nice, new, shiny polynomial because it's not simplified. So x squared minus 3x. Oh, and all the 9's go away. That's cute. So now I have to factor that top just to see if anything's going to divide out. And look, there's a greatest common factor we can pull, and it looks like those x's really are not needed anymore. So those are going to go away. And your final answer is going to be x minus 3 over x plus 3. Do not be tempted to start dividing stuff out and like, oh, it's 1 over 1 and 1 over 1. No. No. No, 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 no. It's a good way to make me cry. All right, last one. I know that because the case highlighted. All right, so again, factor everything. Do, 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 do. Life's better with music and sound effects, so feel free to hum along if you want. Now we've got minus here. Subtraction ones are always an issue. It would not be a bad move to change it to adding the opposite and putting the 1 up there with the negative with the 2. But we'll get there in a second. Give myself a little bit of room here. So your common denominator of note is going to be, I need the x minus 3 from the first one. I also need an x minus 1 from the first one. When I look on the second one, I already have the x minus 1 down, so we're good there, and I'm going to add the x plus 1. So this restaurant has 3 requirements. Apparently you need a tie, a jacket, and shoes, or something like that. So then over here, what are we missing? We're missing on the first rational expression. And on the second one, we're missing the x minus 3. Where are we at? Sorry. If you're in second hour, you're about to come into the classroom. So now we're going to multiply all this out. So I'm going to get 3 times x plus 1. Now here's the place you got to be careful. Remember this. It's going to be minus 2 times x minus 3. Okay. So now again, we're going to regroup. And if you want to do this, you're going to do what you want to do, I guess. But again, I'm going to show you the way I would do it, especially right in the beginning, so you can make sure you don't make any mistakes. Because it's amazing when you think you have shortcuts and you really don't. That's going to be plus 6, because remember, distributing out negative 2, a lot of people, if you're going to make a mistake here, you're going to write down that as a negative 6. And the hard part about that is that that's probably going to leave you, if you did it incorrectly, it's going to leave you with something that's actually going to divide out, because when you simplify the top, I get x plus 9. And if you do it wrong, you're going to get x minus 3. And that's going to seem really tempting because, look, I've got x minus 3 on the bottom. And that would divide out. And that would be really cool, but it would also be really wrong. So don't do it. One math student makes a major mistake, and his life is changed forever. Coming soon. Okay, anyway. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up so we can process this and get it up on the website, and I'll work on some more later. Talk to you soon.